You've probably heard the phrase high performance before. Maybe you imagine athletes, CEOs, or elite professionals doing the impossible, dominating their industries or working with unmatched energy and discipline. But there's something most people never realize. And once you understand what they know, you'll never look at productivity or success the same way again. It's not just about talent. It's not about being born gifted. And it's definitely not about working harder than everyone else. The truth is, high performers don't just do more, they do things differently. They think differently. They operate from a different mindset. Because the gap between average and elite is not as wide as you think. Whether it's through journaling, silence, movement, or meditation, they begin by setting their mental state. They choose who they want to be before the chaos begins. In fact, it often comes down to small shifts repeated consistently over time. So what is it that high performers do that you might not know yet? High performers don't wake up and hope to be productive. They don't rely on motivation to carry them through the day. They know that energy and focus are limited, so they build systems that protect those resources. They don't measure their productivity by how busy they feel. They measure it by the results they create. First, they design their days with intention. So they optimize for recovery just as much as output. They protect their first hour like sacred ground, because they know this simple truth. Win the morning, and you win the day. They take breaks before they burn out, because they know that sustainability is the true advantage. Before the world asks anything of them, they've already won the morning. They start with clarity, so they are careful with what they read, watch, and listen to. They don't allow negative voices, distractions, or empty entertainment to take up space in their mind. They feed their focus. They nourish their ambition, because they know that what enters the mind eventually shapes their decisions. They define their most important outcome before they open their inbox or respond to a single request. And then, they protect time to focus on that outcome without distraction. So, they lean into it. They get comfortable being uncomfortable. They understand that momentum doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design. They don't check their phones the moment they wake up. They take action even when it's messy, even when it's hard, even when fear whispers that they're not good enough. Because they know that courage is not the absence of fear, but action in spite of it. They don't make excuses. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They ask one question: what can I control right now? High performers are not reactive. They don't bounce from task to task based on what feels urgent. They operate from priorities, not pressure. They know exactly what matters most. They know confidence is earned through effort, not emotion. That's another secret. High performers work in blocks, deep, focused blocks of time without interruptions. They don't multitask. They don't chase dopamine. But when you take ownership, you gain the ability to change. They create windows of undivided attention. And inside those windows, they do more in 90 minutes than most people do in an entire day. They understand the difference between motion and progress. But it goes deeper. High performers don't just manage time, they manage energy. They know that tired effort is often wasted effort. They sleep like it matters, because it does. They fuel their bodies, because energy fuels the mind. Anyone can sprint for a day. High performers run marathons. They also manage their inputs. What they consume becomes who they become. They curate their mental diet. Another thing they do differently: they embrace discomfort. Most people avoid pain. They chase ease, comfort, and convenience. But high performers understand that growth lives just beyond discomfort. They don't wait to feel ready. They don't expect confidence to come first. When others hesitate, they begin. And in beginning, they build belief. High performers also take full ownership of their results. They don't blame. They know that responsibility is power, Because when you blame others, you give away your power. They don't play the victim, they play the builder, the creator, the leader, even if no one else is watching. And when things go wrong, because they always do, high performers don't collapse. They analyze. They adjust. They ask what they can learn. They extract the lesson and move forward with more clarity than before. They don't aim to never fail. They aim to fail forward. They ask who they need to become to achieve it. And perhaps most importantly, they are relentless about who they become. They don't just set performance goals, they set identity goals. They don't just ask what they want to achieve, they make decisions as if they were already that person. They ask, what would the disciplined version of me do right now? What would the confident version choose? How would the focused version show up? They say no more often than they say yes, because they know that every yes is a no to something else. And then they live from that future version of themselves right now. This simple mindset shift changes everything. Because identity shapes behavior, and behavior shapes results. High performers also do something most people avoid. They protect their environment with intensity. They engineer their surroundings to support their habits. They're building systems, stacking habits, and investing in compound growth. They keep going because they believe in who they're becoming. They trust the process because they know the process always works if you do. They know that environment beats willpower every time. So they don't rely on discipline alone. Their workspace is clean. Their phone is not in sight. Their time is protected, and their standards are non-negotiable. It's about being consistent for a year. They don't tolerate low-energy conversations or distractions disguised as opportunity. Because while others chase shortcuts, high performers play the long game. Their boundaries are clear. Their focus is respected, not just by others, but by themselves. They have bad days. They fall short. They make mistakes. High performers surround themselves with people who elevate them, people who challenge them, people who don't just make them feel good, but make them grow. And when it comes to relationships, they choose wisely. They know that environment includes people, and that nothing will sabotage your performance faster than keeping company with those who believe in your vision. They also think long-term. They seek feedback, even when it's uncomfortable, but confident enough to believe they can learn it. Because feedback is the mirror that reveals where you're stuck. They're not chasing instant results. Maybe it's committing to deep work for 90 minutes a day. Maybe it's changing your inputs, or your environment, or your identity. They don't need to see results today to keep going. That long-term thinking gives them patience, and patience gives them power. Start with one shift, one habit, one new standard. It also gives them peace. They know that it's not about being intense for a week. They also give themselves grace. This might surprise you, but high performers aren't perfect. But what sets them apart is how they respond. They don't spiral, they reset. They don't beat themselves up, they bounce back. They know that one bad moment does not define the day. One bad day does not define the week. They forgive fast, they adjust fast. They move forward fast, and through all of it, they never stop learning. High performers are obsessed with improvement. Not because they think they're not enough, but because they know they can be more. They study, they ask questions, they reflect. They are humble enough to know they don't know it all. That combination of humility and hunger is rare, and it's powerful. So if you want to step into high performance, don't try to do everything at once. Maybe it's protecting your first hour each morning. Maybe it's saying no to distractions. Whatever it is, begin now. Begin imperfectly. Begin with intention. Because high performance isn't a gift you're born with. It's a decision, a commitment, a lifestyle. It's what happens when you stop living by default and start living by design. You already have what it takes. Now it's about how you show up. Show up like it matters, because it does.